Okay, so we're going to take a look at parameter set summary page scripts today. So I'm reading from the wrong bit of paper. Summary page script today. So we're going to take a look at the different summary blocks, how you construct a summary page, and then we've got a couple of samples that we've built that we'll provide for download when we get the session up onto the blog later today. So probably the best example of a summary page is the accounts key details script. So that's obviously a built-in summary page. And what you see inside this grey box here, this is a summary page script in its entirety. A summary page script is made up of summary page blocks, and you can see here each of these are blocks. So we can build these summary page scripts reasonably easily, and we can even add our own custom blocks and tables and things to them. So you can see here in the accounts key details, we've actually got two columns defined. So we've obviously got one here 60% and one at 40%, something like that. So we can actually define multiple columns. We can define multiple sections. So we may choose to have a 2-column section here, and then underneath we may choose to have a 4-column section or a 1-column section that spans the whole width of the page. So they're really easy to customize, and if you're utilizing the built-in blocks, so don't forget that these summary blocks appear right the way through throughout the FinPower Connect application. Each of these are built-in summary blocks. You can add these to any summary page you like. So whilst this displays, the monitoring displays in the status page, you may decide to have a page that's dedicated to workflows and monitoring and all that kind of stuff. And again, your key details script itself is indeed completely customizable. So we'll have a look at that script, and that's obviously a default in every database. It's the key.acc script. Okay, if we go to the script code, you can see it's rather unremarkable. It uses hash built-in summary page to account key details. Now, if we want to see what the code is doing behind the scenes, we can clear that out, and we can paste the template code. No, we can't. We can right-click and go to built-in scripts, and you can see here we get a key details and a key details expanded. So key details gives us that, and key details expanded gives us the full script code that sits behind this script here. Okay, so just to give you a quick idea of how easy it is to create these summary pages, we start by initializing a summary page string builder, and we have some initialization code in here, and then we begin a column. So we begin a section of columns rather. So our section is going to contain a column that is 60% width, and it's going to contain a second column which is 40% width. You can also set those widths to be fixed widths, and indeed you can set those to have minimum and maximum widths as well. So you can see here that it's 40% width up until a maximum of 50 EM, which is a web width unit, which I won't go into today, but that can be a set number of pixels, it can be a percentage, it can be whatever you like. Okay, so looking at the script itself, we get a whole bunch of constants from the script, so optionally showing various bits and bobs. And then once we've initialized our string builder, we've set our column to begin at 60%, we're going to start adding some blocks. So the first thing we do is we define a block begin, and then we add in a summary table to that block. And you can see here that we're actually using a summary page standard block. So as I mentioned here, our block summary, which is this block here, pulls in this standard built-in FinPower Connect summary page standard block. So we do a block begin, we do a summary table append, and then we do a block end. And that's as difficult or as simple as it is to add that block into that column on that summary page script. So we won't go right the way through the whole through the whole key detail script, but I do encourage you to load up a demo database and do exactly that. Have a play around, add some blocks, move some blocks around. You might decide that you don't want your summary in your column 1. So we'll go down to column 2 and we'll chuck it in there instead. And eventually, once my system's not logged up, I don't know why that's so slow this morning. Dramatic pause. There we go. See, that's moved that over into that other column. So really, really easy to structure and move these blocks around. As I say, we're not going to go into too much detail into the key account script. By all means, go and have a play around. Add a couple of extra columns. If you want to add a new section, then you can add a new section underneath. And to do that, you simply just need to do a section columns begin, define your columns, end your column, and then do a section columns end at the end. And then you can add in whatever columns and things you like. So we've got some pretty good samples that are actually built into the system, and most of the stuff that you can do with summary pages you can find just by using these built-in scripts. As I say, these are all referencing standard blocks at the moment. So what we'll do is we'll show you a quick sample we've knocked up that'll actually go in and show you how to create your own standard blocks and display them in your own custom summary page. Okay, so over here we have a script called sp.helper, and again we'll make this script available for download so that you guys can go and have a play with this as well. And if I run that script up, and what this does is it shows you all of the different things that we can actually display in a summary page or in a summary table, summary page block. Okay, so this one runs through various icons that we can use and now bear in mind that these, with the exception of buttons, these are and notes. These are entirely for display only, so you can't affect a tick or a cross or even a checkbox in here. These summary pages are not designed for that. You'd need a widget with JavaScript or something in order to do that. So these are really for displaying information. That said, you can display things like buttons, hyperlinks, pop-up notes, and all sorts of stuff to pop out of that summary page script. So as I say, these are some of the things that we can set by default, and you'll see these throughout the system. Various flags. We can set a warning with some warning text, an error with error texts, and so on and so forth. As we saw, we can pop open a note. Now that note can contain just a standard string, or it could contain some HTML in there as well. That'll display that in a note. We can also display system icons. So if you ever need to see a full list of the system icons, you can go to an action script. And on the options page, that's the icons. You can also go to a page set and do the same thing. And you also see the icon IDs in here as well. So in our sample, we've selected the truck, and it's displayed as our truck. We can also overlay icons, so we can overlay two icons. So if you want to go, for instance, here we've got a truck icon and a warning icon. I've simply overlaid the two, so you can actually create your own icon overlays, which is pretty cool. This is displaying the client status from the client, and you can see that we can also provide tooltip text for these things as well, and that's goes right the way across the board. If that's just text or if it's an icon or whatever, you can display tooltip text. Picking up the accounts alert as well, the alert message, which is over here now because I moved it. And we can add things like color blocks. This one's a rather large color block, but you may have a need to display little blocks of color. Again, you see that in things like transactions. I think transactions, can't remember now, but yeah, those color blocks are available as well. And then we can show true, false checkboxes, disclaimer text, and also buttons. So that button there will fire open the account. If it's closed, form's closed, fire open the account form, and so on and so forth. As well as displaying icons and other little buttons and things, we can also display what we call Wiki Text. So Wiki Text enables us to show things like bold, italics, warning text, positive text, and we do that via use of these little tags. So where these are entered with the appropriate wiki prefix, these will come out, and you can see here that this text will be asterisk asterisk bold, produces obviously bold, and so on and so forth as we go through. And then we've got a little wiki text matrix as well to show that you can combine those wiki text options. At the bottom, so you can see on the accounts we went through, we've got a 2-column layout, 60/40. And in here we've gone 50/50 in the top section, and then we've done a new section columns begin underneath with a 100% width block. This block simply just pulls back the top 20 transactions, I think, from the account. But you can see here it only displays the top 5, and then there's show more items. So this is really useful where you've got a big grid of something like transactions where there could be a ton, and you don't want to display every single transaction every time. So you can actually limit that to show 5, and then have a little button down here to show more items. And you can see that goes through and displays the remaining transaction items. So again, there's lots and lots and lots you can do. This is an entirely custom. These are entirely custom blocks that I've built via the script. So we'll go in and have a quick look at at how we've achieved that. So in my script code, here we can see in our get page event, we've got our same summary page 2 string builder. So exactly the same as we did for the key account script. Some initialization code, again exactly the same. Then we begin a new section of columns and a new column. It's our 50% column, which is obviously our left hand column as we're looking at the top of the script, the resulting HTML. We do a block begin, we do a summary tables append, we do a block end, and a columns end. And it's as simple as that. So it's very, very similar to the key accounts details. We then begin a new column. We do exactly the same again there. This time we're actually going to add 2 blocks. We're adding our table wiki and table wiki matrix, which are these 2 here. And then we end our columns, and then we're going to end our section because we want to start a new section which is going to contain a single 100% width column, which is exactly what we do underneath. And then within that column, we begin a column, and again, begin a block, add a summary table, end it, etc., etc. And that's as simple as that need be in terms of actually creating that structure. In order to create the summary tables themselves, I've got various functions through the script here. So our summary table of elements, which is what I've called this thing here because I couldn't think of a better name. This one goes through and creates a summary table. It sets its class to be information. So our options here I hate the way it does that. Our options here in terms of table classes are information, none, or tabular data. Information, you can see, has our defines this in an informational layout. So we've got a caption and a value. Obviously, a table layout, as you can see below, is and in here actually displays a nice HTML table. We define 2 columns, and then we simply loop through some rows, .add caption text with these various wiki options in here. Okay, and that's all the code that's needed to produce those these things here. It's just these little wiki options. Now, if you want a full breakdown of exactly which what options are available, there is a summary page 2 script guide on our website. So if you go to the website, go to the developer download section, then you'll find that there's a summary page 2 document, and it's quite a big document, and it lists pretty much everything that we're going to talk about today, plus a whole bunch more, and you'll get a full breakdown of exactly what you can and can't do and show in summary page 2s, and a full breakdown of all the wiki text options and things that you've got available too. This is obviously a reasonably good starting point, but I do definitely encourage you to go and have a look at the document itself. Okay, so we're setting various rows, which are then displaying down the page here, and that's it. We just return a summary table, which then gets added via a summary table append call here. So very, very straightforward. And again, we did exactly the same thing for the wiki table and the wiki matrix and the account transactions table. All of that code's available to you via this script. And like I say, we'll make that available for you for download. Okay. As well as the script, you might remember from the first week, we looked at a utilities page set that we've built. And that went through the finbl.runtime, data utilities, file utilities, text utilities, etc. There's a HTML summary pages tab that I've added. So once you've added this script, so the script does need to exist first, add the page set, and you can pick an account, and it will display that HTML summary script in an HTML panel within a page set. Okay. And what I've also done is loaded the script code in here, so you can actually get in and have a quick play in here. So for instance, if I comment that row there and then hit the refresh HTML, you'll see that the tick disappears from the top, and we can put it back, etc., etc. So you can have a bit of a play around in here without doing too much damage to the actual script itself. Okay, so again, we'll make the page set available for download again from the blog. Okay, so hopefully that's as I say, it's only a very short 15-20 minutes session, but hopefully it's gone some way to showing you some of the things that you can do with summary pages. Next week we'll go through the summary blocks, the built-in system summary blocks, and how we can override those, and how we can actually use that to learn a little bit about the business layer too.